evening, everybody, and welcome tonight to our 10th session of our Vampire the Masquerade V5 Chronicle, La Terreur et la Vertu. I am very, very excited to get into the action of this session as everything starts to come to a head in these revolutionary times. I'm Beck. I will be your storyteller for tonight's session. And before we lift off for this evening, we'll get our lovely group to introduce themselves and the characters they'll be playing for this evening.
Hi, I'm Adam. I'll be playing Remy, our Sabbat Malkavian.
I'm Jack. I will be playing Madame de Comtesse Le Visage, the Camarilla Nephilim Toreador.
Hi, I'm Syrinx. I'll be playing Maël Cadieux, the Gangrel Anarch.
Lovely. Now, where we left off after last session, it was a moment of revolutionary fervor, but in an anti-revolutionary sense, strangely enough. The anarchs of the city of Paris have banded together for the first time in many, many years to fight the oppressiveness, the tyranny of the reign of terror of Robespierre. They are marching together under the leadership of one of their barons, Francine Corday, as well as our own Maël, to the Feuillants Club, which once a monastery and once a esteemed political club has now been disbanded and rebranded into a factory which makes the most weapons that are distributed to the National Guard throughout the city and throughout the country as a whole. Now, the march itself has begun from the south of the city, in the sort of territory that is occupied by the few remaining anarchs and their allies, both kindred and kind, that exist throughout the city. Those moderates that have been left behind in the radicalization of society over the past year or so. Now they all march together, singing revolutionary songs up the street, traveling north, across the bridge of the Seine, up to the Feuillants Club, to take it back, to make a stand for the first time in years, a manifestation of their dreams, of the revolutionary spirit, of their belief. Everything coming together as an amalgam of what this thing was when it first came to be, the spirit of it manifest in all of these people. Everybody marches together, and as you had planned before in the textile store owned by Francine, split off into 4 squadrons, I guess you would call it them, carrying their sort of peasants' tools, their artisans' tools, anything that they could find on the street that could be used as a weapon. The mortals carrying things, the kindred carrying things like this to use against the oppressors within this factory. And they all split off around the north, the east, and west. And the group in which you are, with which you lead, Maël, stays around the south of the building as you start to make your way around sort of the fortress, covering all bases, making your way close to its entrance. As you are marching, as you are approaching the club, the 3 of you at the front of your particular squadron, is there any words exchanged between you in preparation or in the spirit of the moment, perhaps?
I guess the only thing that we need to be certain of is that we are all on the same page about just finding Onryo. So I guess would it be pretty big inside that we wouldn't be able to see each other from like across a room or something? Like, I'm just trying to figure out if we will be able to see each other or if we need to do like other cues or something.
I'm sure you would have asked. Francine knows a little bit about what it's like inside. She's been around these parts for quite some time. The building itself is sort of, I guess, like a square shape with a large courtyard in the center, and you're approaching from sort of either side. So if you sort of stick within the sort of, I guess, the southern kind of area, the southern wing, I guess you would call it, of this building, you would probably be able to see each other because it's all been hollowed out, and is just like sort of one big hall that is used for the mass production of all of these weapons now and such. You would probably also know via Francine that the sort of offices and such are in the kind of southwestern corner, essentially. And the rest of it is just kind of one long band that sort of snakes around the rest of the building as a kind of open hall area, essentially.
Then we would know that we'll probably have to look in the office spaces. So we barge in and we go and find Onryo.
I'm inclined to think that he is going to come and find us.
He is one for passion, after all, and a good fight. Will he be living after this fight, Remy?
I find it difficult but not impossible to imagine a scenario in which he is. But I suppose anyone can change their mind.
Is there a preference that you have?
He is an impediment. If he decides not to be, so much the better.
Understood. Shall let you try to remove this speed bump before we encounter it. And if not, I will remove it.
Good. If he is able to leave, that will make life a bit more difficult for me.
If he decides to run, he won't be able to leave. I think
Then we
that's
are on
underestimating our capabilities.
something you know I would never do.
My question would be, do we go in guns blazing? Or would you rather a more auditory, oral approach?
I suppose I could offer those who are currently gainfully employed the option to lay down their arms and await the inevitable.
I will be the blade of which to keep them from harming you if they do not agree.
Good.
He will
Lucretia,
gesture.
do you have heightened senses active currently?
I can.
Okay, it's a risky thing to do because of the
Yeah.
amount of noise that the crowd is making. But
I
yeah.
honestly think she wouldn't at this point in time.
No worries. Good to know.
When we enter the building. She
Yeah. The three of
When
you.
we get
While
close,
we're
sorry, I will activate Sense the Unseen when we're
Right.
getting close, though, just to see if there's any lurkers.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, while we're marching, I'm gonna do 2 rouse checks.
Yes. To try and heal that
to try and
superficial
heal
damage.
more. Yeah.
Make those rouse checks for me.
If we're rousing things, I am going to get fleetness going.
Yes, make a rouse check for fleetness too. And Remy, I'm going to get you to make a wits or specs roll for me.
Right.
Black bestie.
That is 6 with a messy crit.
Sounds like it's
Good
climb
start.
compulsion time.
At the
Ooh,
beginning.
goody. Goody.
Yeah. So with 6 and a messy critical, you sort of open your eyes and in a different way, and see that spotted around this building, sort of against the wall, actually wearing the sort of clothing that almost sort of blends in with the color of the sandstone, as though they're trying to camouflage themselves, are Canaanites. Some of them you can tell to be Nosferatu, others look like Canaanites of any particular kind. Many of them sort of almost look like they're guarding or just keeping a watch out. On this southern wing, you probably spot 10 or so of them sort of standing in a line across. You can assume that there are more sort of alongside and on the other side, sorry. And the direness of this situation, I suppose, the way in which you have approached this very loudly, very in the way that the anarchs approached this revolution back in 1789, with this almost naive honesty about them, a way that ended for them in tragedy, in death, in disaster, in horrible outcomes for almost all of them. And this being a sort of a repetition of that, seems to strike you, I don't know, would it strike you as being mundane, disastrous, something of this nature, and probably fills you with a sense of either paranoia or perhaps even excitement? How would he respond to it?
This is something that would delight Remy in the sense of history rhyming. And so when these patterns replicate through time like that, and in a way that is slanted or distorted, that's like candy to Remy. So I think he would just be kind of like just start grinning.
Yeah.
And like looking out to them, and then looking around, kind of getting caught up in the wild energy of the crowd. And sort of let go a little bit of the more collected body posture and stuff like that. Kind of walk with a bit more vigor. And you said there's about 10 of these
Yes.
hidden kindred around?
That are in your
I will,
sight.
yeah, I will kind of turn to Mael and to Lucretia and say, "We are not alone. Someone has come for a front row seat, and I expect that they will be leaping onto the stage soon." And we'll kind of like gesture over towards the wall. "Watchers, 10.
Lucretia will get her fans out, keep them closed, but she draws them. And then we'll probably activate heightened senses then. Oh no, that's a risk. There's a lot of noise going on. You will then be my eyes.
I see so much."
I think Lucretia smiles as well. She doesn't get to see this out of Remy very.
How are you certain that they are just watching and they won't interfere?
Oh, I'm quite convinced they intend to interfere.
It is at this point where I'll get you all to make a wits awareness roll. Remy, -2 dice.
Goody.
So his clan compulsion is active, right?
Yes, that's right. Hence the penalty.
Yeah. How, just for my own, because I love it, how is he seeing the world? Like, how does it affect him?
So for Remy, I think this is like he's falling into a pattern in which every move that happens next is as though it is scripted, and he's waiting for the cue, and sometimes maybe mildly anticipating it, and sometimes being delightfully surprised when it doesn't meet his expectations. He's evaluating new players coming on to the scene as like potential leads, and trying to place them in the arc of this story that's getting told.
Is it like almost a subconscious script is being read that he's not fully aware of, but is like playing in?
Yeah, just wildly
That's
swinging
very
between the delight of recognizing and seeing everything very clearly, and then being totally thrown off by like something you didn't see coming.
Being both like the reader and the actor simultaneously. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, exactly so.
And the
2
audience
successes for Remy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4.
5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, I got out my physical dice and they're good.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, Lucretia and Mael, Remy, you are distracted by the noise, distracted by these figures, distracted by the people who are becoming more and more agitated and more like bombs wherein the fuse is getting closer and closer to making the thing explode the closer they get to the club. But Mael and Lucretia, both of you, as you approach the sort of I guess this stone like wooden door that leads into the kind of estate that is this Fouillon's club essentially. You begin to hear the voice of Henriot sort of echoing from within the building. You can hear his voice. It seems to be coming from this sort of southwestern corner as well, the one that Francine would have told you, Mael, where the offices are. And he is rousing up the crowd. He is saying things like, they're coming. We've seen them coming for a long time. We've known that they're going to be here. And finally, like, I thought that they would take a lot longer than this, but clearly they're still good for something. More of them out there than we originally thought, which is good. That Robespierre tomorrow is going to come out with that fucking list and tell us who it really is that is responsible for all this fucking bullshit, and we can get rid of them once and for all. And hey, they're coming right here to our doorstep already. It's too easy. It's like they're wanting to die. It's like they're asking for us to do it for them. He's rousing them up in this way, sounding incredibly almost frenzied as he is speaking, as though he is speaking to himself, but you can hear the sort of shuffling of feet, the murmuring, the sort of speaking amongst the crowd of people. There are a lot of people in this building, a lot of people with you, a lot of people in there. There are many, many people, probably thousands of people gathered here at this moment in this place.
I think as we both hear that, Mael will kind of just give a little growl and say, he's rousing them up. And I will activate Vanish at that moment. Dramatically appropriate. Success.
Nice. What hunger are you at, Mael, actually?
2.
Nice, not too bad.
So I'm at 2 hunger and I have still 1 aggravated damage.
Lovely, but no superficial. So no impairment worries for you currently.
I have a question.
Yes.
How public knowledge is it that Remy is kind of working against Robespierre? As somebody who's pretty clued in.
I'll get you to make an intelligence politics roll.
Because if my intention is, if it's not super public knowledge, if we can get Captain Join My Cult up on that stage, there might be a way to, I don't know, offset this. You said intelligence.
Politics. Yep.
Yeah, let Remy know if that's public knowledge. He'd be curious.
That is only 1 success.
Hard to say, really. Probably not. You think you've been pretty careful for the most part.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know, in terms of only speaking to the leaders of potential factions, not like in public places, you've been pretty careful. So it shouldn't be public knowledge as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, she'll lean forward and be like, how do you feel about a counter argument to Monsieur up there?
Yes, a foil, I think. Yes, that's good. Although it's certainly going to. No, I like it. Very good.
She rubs your back, probably puts her fans away, and she just says, I am this far away whenever you need. And then I'm going to, in that instant, use traversal to get to the top of the building to get ready to get to him if something happens, if he gets to stage. And also so he's alone.
Okay. It is at that point.
Okay. That's my intention.
Yes. I will give
Might I
Mael a
suggest-
chance.
I was gonna say, might I suggest that Remy rolls to see if he can still see me? Because that might be useful.
True.
How many?
It
You got
might.
6
I had
successes on
6,
your
yeah.
wits or specs roll. So, roll wits obfuscate, I guess, and I guess failing is okay in this circumstance.
Yeah,
Let's fail. Please don't
It most
bestially
certainly
fail.
is.
Also, I really hate to bring this up, but I think your clan Bane also activates.
Does it?
Oh yeah, the
It's when you
Malkavian
suffer a
stack.
compulsion,
Yeah.
you also, your Bane activates. So whatever pool you chose,
Mhm.
you now have your Bane severity negative in.
Physical, social, mental.
Yeah, so it's physical
Mhm.
for Remy. So he's already
Got
got a
it.
2 dice penalty for Dex, Manipulation, Composer, and Wits, and then
An extra
Chuck,
added 2 for
know.
that as well. Yeah.
It's almost like the Malkavians.
Yep.
It's unfair. Weird.
It's a
That's
lot.
fine.
No
You
other
can still
clan.
see me.
Ooh.
I can
Yeah.
always see you, my dear.
You're in the script. I see your stage actions. I know where you
Mhm.
are.
Moving about backstage, making it all work from behind. Mael, before things happen, is there anything you would like to do? Anywhere you would like to position yourself? Anywhere you would like to go?
The thing is, if there are doors, I cannot open them myself because I can't interact.
Yeah.
So I think I'll try to sneak in with the first of the crowd. And my idea is to situate Onryo as fast as possible.
Great. No worries. In that case, Lucretia, as you are running up the side of the building, I'm going to get you to roll, well, it'll be dexterity performance for you, not
Hey.
athletics.
Also, I'll rouse for traversal.
To see if you can rouse for traversal as well, to see if you can sort
Got
of beat this this thing that comes out of nowhere for you. Remy, you
Got it.
see one of the Cainites sort of run up after her as she surges forward, and it is as they sort of chase each other up the wall of the Fouillon Club, when the doors barge open and a tsunami of people, some, full kind of Nosferatu. You see some even Cappadocians with sort of, decaying faces that look like half-rotted corpses streaming out. Oh, there goes Jack.
The Nosferatu won.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't know he had obfuscate too. Wait for him to come back.
I'm back.
Hey.
What on earth? What on earth?
I thought Lucretia had died there.
No
for a
idea.
moment.
I thought that she had died.
I moved so fast. I'm gonna use a ball.
Yeah,
Love.
no worries. That this stream of people come surging out of the factory. Doors on miles slam open, and you can hear them crash against the side of the sandstone walls of this building. One of the Cainites just sort of steps out of the way just before the doors crash against the sides of the wall, and they come out towards you. This stream of people that doesn't seem like it's going to end. What would you like to do?
How did the traversal?
Yeah, how did it go?
Is this a non-combat dex roll?
Yes. A small, yeah, but maybe.
Woo!
It depends how you go.
Do I add fleetness to this?
Yeah, you would add fleetness to this.
Okay, lovely. Good to know. So I'm gonna...
This is like an instinctual thing, so you'll add fleetness
Got
because
it.
you don't think it's a combat thing, because you
Mhm.
can't see.
That is 10 successes.
Oh my god. Okay.
She flick and she move and she dance.
You feel a hand grasp your shoulder, Lucretia. This cold hand, this sort of dead, dry, cold hand. And you can feel the sort of blunt fingernails kind of scrape against your shoulder where the dress is sort of, exposing.
Horror.
Yep. But it doesn't grasp onto you like you know that it wants to. And as you look back, you see the visage.
Probably like a hand slipped under it.
Mhm.
This twirling as if coming out of a dance move so that she can see, and then like a let go.
Yeah, this
Keep moving.
this kindred with fangs bared, eyes sort of red, glowing, sort of eyes of the beast, this unearthly kind of glow to them. And you sort of twirl out of the way and watch them as they sort of snarl up at you, looking eyes, unnaturally wide. And you make your way to the top, leaving them to sort of scamper after you as they come forward. Remy, what would you like to do here?
Okay, so physically speaking, we are on top of a wall or a building. What can we see the crowd down below?
You're on the same level as them. They're coming right towards you.
Okay.
Yeah, you've sort of come to the walls of this estate. Generally, I would say, there's a sort of I guess a space, a kind of yard, I would say, between you and the front door of the building that you face, and they're coming from the building towards you out to the sort of boundary wall.
Okay, and is Unrio there?
No, he is not. He's still speaking. You can still hear him from inside saying these things, getting more and more worked up as these people, these Canaanites, rush out towards you.
Okay, I'm gonna activate awe.
Reaction.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to. Are they all still obfuscated? The ones who are coming towards us, or are these?
No, they're not.
Visible?
They are visible.
Okay. Then I'm just going to put my hands out like this, cane in hand, and take my hat and give a big bow and say, Citoyens, welcome to the greatest shift in the story that is your lives. I have come at the head of a great, and I thud the cane to the ground, stomping thud, willing thud, beating mass of providence. And will you ignore that beat? I hope not.
Roll manipulation.
Later. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, because that's the thrust of it.
Yeah. Roll manipulation presence, -2 dice.
Yeah. Manipulation and presence.
This very much separates the Canaanites from the kind for you as well, Remy. As soon as you start talking, even before you start talking, those among the crowd who are mortal stop in their tracks, halt, and sort of walk towards you slowly, as though in a kind of daze.
I'm gonna sorry.
It's okay.
That's a lot of dice. I'm gonna rouse to get those 2 dice back.
Yeah.
And I don't get hungrier. That's lucky.
Good.
Great. I'm gonna spend a willpower.
Yeah, why not? Now's the time.
That's a sweaty 2.
2 successes. Okay. Since you are convincing a mass of them, you see some of these Canaanites stop and sort of start walking slowly towards you as you speak, in a similar way to the humans here, but some of them just ignore you and keep sort of heading straight onto the crowd. Some of them coming right towards you, some of them ignoring you completely and just heading straight for the sort of masses of people that await sort of behind off to the side of you, beyond these doors, rushing out towards you. One of them does come at you, probably noticing what you are trying to do. Well, not listening to you per se, but aware of the fact that you are trying to address everybody en masse in this moment, and will try and sort of, will actually try and pick you up, grab you, I think, sort of bare hands and all. Would you like to try and dodge this, fight them back? Up to you.
Where possible, I would like to.
You're on top of a roof.
I would like to quite literally just. Oh no, that would be Soaring Leap. The equivalent of Celerity's version of Soaring Leap. I want to propel myself to intercept this grab.
It's
in
going
some
to
way.
be very difficult because you're quite a long way away from him now.
Can I use Blink?
Let me just check Blink.
Because there is like a certain range on Blink, which I understand.
I think it's 50 meters.
If,
It
if
is
that doesn't
50
work, I
meters.
can give you a nice visual of how I could help.
Yeah, well, it's just Lucretia's set herself up so that if anyone went for Remy, she would intercept.
Remy would absolutely not fight this with his body.
Exactly. So I will fight it for him.
Yeah, you could get there.
Lovely. I would like to do that. And in a dance move, kind of just get him out of the way.
Yeah, that's fine. Make a rouse check for Blink.
Got it?
And
Oh, great rouse checks.
Dexterity Athletics again.
Yay! And I can put performance.
Performance instead of athletics, yes.
And this is non-combat too. Oh,
Yeah. So
I'm
sort of...
Goku powering up.
And what does Mael do in this moment as this is happening?
I would like to offer the most beautiful contradictory scene to Lucretia's beautiful, like, gracious dance moves, where, if you'll allow it, I would very much like to use my Cling of Insect while I get inside of the factory, obfuscated as Mael starts crawling up the wall to slowly, like, sniff out Ario and make her way to him.
That's amazing. As I said, you have some of these little vials of like dead spiders shaken in blood prepared, so you can quickly down one of them. Yep. Shots.
I like to think Remy's gonna not even notice what's actually happening and just be looking at Mael creeping along the walls. Like, oh, excellent.
Stage direction. Mael climbs wall, and you're like, oh.
Forgot about that
So yeah,
trapdoor.
very much not as gracious as Lucretia's moves at this moment.
Very creepy looking. This is very, very unnatural. And it is performance ritual, duration a whole night. Yep, great, no worries. So it'll last for the scene for you. You have these.
I just need to
these
get to
sticky
him.
hands. Yeah, you start to, once you get inside and sort of climb up on the wall, there's sort of her limbs kind of splayed out in all directions like a bug or a spider or something like this. You see him standing, Mael, on a kind of balcony that sort of overlooks all of these offices in the corner, addressing the crowd so he can see from his left that leads up sort of northways and leads eastways along the south, along the door that you came in, and you can sort of, his voice projects all the way across this building, like supernaturally enhanced voice that he is using all the way outside to where you were, even his voice piercing through the crowd that you've led here. And he is also surrounded by he leans over the balcony, and then behind him are I would say 5 people dressed in the uniform of the National Guard, as he is as well, as sort of blue coats that they're wearing, all of them carrying bayonet rifles with them as well.
I have the most beautiful plan. That he's standing on a balcony, you see. Mael will climb over like to the sides of the walls and try to climb underneath the balcony so that she can literally grab a hand over the balcony when she gets there, if she gets there, and try to drag him down.
Great. I'm going to get you to roll a stamina athletics roll for me as you do this.
Yes.
This is literally Assassin's Creed Unity, I think is the French one.
And how many successes, Lucretia?
5, not a great roll.
No, it's not too bad. You probably, with Blink, you managed to get most of the way there. You won't be able to insert yourself between this K-Knight coming at Remy and Remy himself, but with your fleetness, you would probably like have to run around to be able to get there.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
This person is aggressively moving towards.
Yeah. Looking at Remy, sort of shaking his head, going, I know what you're up to, kind of thing. And
And we can't see Mael.
No.
And this crowd is
you
moving.
can't.
I can.
Yeah.
Or could.
I think with the doors open, oh God, I have to think about combat now. Because throwing you inside that building is probably a really bad idea. Because they're just going to gun you down. But also you talking to people is a good thing. I think I'm just going to try and get you to, do you want to go up or do you just want to go laterally?
Remy at this point is just along for the ride, and as soon as he gets to speak, he's going to make somebody die.
Okay, cool. I think I'm just going to move you to a spot where you aren't being grabbed. So the intention is to probably grab Remy, hopefully faster than this person, and dance move him away. So that just to find like enough of the space in this courtyard, whether it be slightly behind this mob or to the side, but just some gap where he can stand and not be touched.
Yep, no worries. In that case, I'm going to get you to make another dexterity performance roll. And this will be against the crowd in general.
Yep.
As hands try to grasp you and wrench you apart from each other as you are.
The hands of the poor.
The hands of the poor. As they try to grab you and wrench you apart from each other as you sort of twirl your way closer to being inside.
I'm gonna make this the most beautiful cinematic scene ever if I can, because I already have the next move planned.
Good.
Shikamaru, that's good.
It's not a La Sombra moment. I don't know what you mean.
City gangrels are tough, buddy.
Alright, that is 8 successes.
8 successes, lovely. You beat me by 1. Yeah. You feel some of them grab at Remy's waistcoat. Some of them try to wrench the cane out of his hands as you sort of twirl your way across. But Lucretia, you sort of anticipate this. Bring his arm back around. Bring him back close to you, away from those who are trying desperately to grasp him. It's sort of like there's hands everywhere and you're kind of making your way.
I'm gonna get him close. Get him very close to me. Probably get his cane, like how I've maneuvered him in the past. Get him to put his cane on the small of my back and like push together and then shift.
Yeah. And you make your way through this crowd, sort of, against the current of people here. We're more
light as a
and
feather,
more
stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Waltzing 101 through this door where Remy, you see Mael, I guess, climbing across the wall, sort of underneath. Mael, how many successes did you get on that roll?
So I roused the blood. That was a success.
Yeah.
And I have 5 successes on my dex to try and grab him from the balcony.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm gonna roll for him just to see if he can actually see you.
Remy's looking over at Mael, and Lucretia's like, "What on God's green earth could you possibly be looking at that isn't me?"
A grand entrance from the
Mhm.
balcony. The second balcony.
You grab a hold of his ankle. What would you like to do?
So is it the kind of balcony that has empty spaces in between?
So it's sort
Because
of. Mm,
how I was imagining it was that Mael would climb from the underneath of
Yep.
the balcony. Like if the balcony's side is here and he's like speaking towards the crowd,
Yep.
I would imagine that she goes under
mm-hmm.
like side and then grab him and try to pull him
Oh,
like
I understand.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Literally pull him and throw him off the balcony.
Yeah. Cool. So you want to climb like up and over.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Can't beat him. Yeet him.
You can't beat him, eat him.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you grab him. Would you
Yeah,
like to try
and
and throw him?
Yeah, I grab him by the scruff of his shirt and I try to just yeet him over the balcony.
Mm-hmm. Strength athletics for me.
Yeah.
Think those claws. Oh, you don't have any claws.
I think we asked this question before. Rouse of the blood, would it last for a scene or only for one?
Just for one roll.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. About as good as I'm gonna get for Honryo, I think. And you're blind to your
I'm gonna rouse the blood again just because I want to see him tumble so bad. I failed that rouse, so I'm on free, but
Yep,
it's worth
that's fine. It's fine.
I want to hear this man go. Whoop.
Many dices.
Yeah. It's like just as Remy is looking up there, Lucretia sort of goes, "Why aren't you looking at?" Looks up as well.
It's unsaid. She's like, "Oh, he's loving. He isn't even looking."
So that's 6, but it's no messy or critical or anything.
Mm-hmm. You beat me by 1 success. So you, as you grab him, your form materializes before Lucretia as well. You see her as Mael interacts with Honryo, grabs him by the scruff of his prim and proper, very nicely pressed National Guard uniform, and flings him with excessive strength over the balcony, where his speech, his rousing words sort of get caught in his throat, and he kind of coughs as they leave him, as they are sort of stagnated within himself, and he is thrown over the balcony. There is a gasp, a yell from the crowd as this happens, and he falls down to the ground with an almighty thud. Everybody stops for a split second as this happens, in silence, looks at Honryo at the ground, looks at Mael, like sort of clinging to the balcony like a sort of deranged insect of some kind.
At that exact moment, Mael drops to follow Honryo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Remy is applauding madly.
And as you drop and land on him, everything just begins again. There is a louder noise as people are yelling, battling furiously in here now as this has happened. Lucretia, you notice there is somebody that's sort of coming towards you, these huge sort of, kind of 6-inch claws out, going straight for your neck, as they lunge towards you.
No. We don't have that. Can Remy intervene in this situation if he's allowed to see it coming? Just going to look at this person coming and say, no, that won't do. You kill Henrio.
First,
Mhm.
I'm going to get you to make a resolve intimidation roll to try and catch their eye.
Ah, okay. So
Yeah.
they wouldn't.
If I can assist, please let me know because we are dancing together. And if I can do a dip and the claws are coming up and I happen to
Twirly.
get his face.
If you have
at
a
the
dot
right
in
angle.
intimidation, you can definitely assist in it. They'll make a wits awareness. This sort of scruffy.
I have a dot in intimidation.
Yep. This scruffy, very dirty woman with matted hair is wearing a kind of a guildswoman's outfit. A very kind of like baggy, lots of pockets. The entire outfit is frayed, muddied. The shoes are years old and scuffed to the nth degree. Everything you
Rancid.
despise. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna rouse as
Mhm.
well. And that is a fail.
It's okay. You get a
Get
little
a
hungrier.
little hungrier. Okay. Resolve intimidation. Okay. That is a 5 with a crit.
Nice. You beat them. They look into your eyes, and now I will get you to roll Charisma Dominate, which is not impacted by your bane. so you know-
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, here's my Don. This is the roll I've been waiting to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just deciding whether to spend willpower on this or not. I'm gonna learn a lesson if I don't spend it. You know what? I'm gonna spend it. I want this to happen.
It is the time.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. So that is a crit with
Nice.
9 successes.
Oh, nice. I thought I was pretty good with 7, but
Oh, I'm so glad I spent that willpower.
Mm-hmm.
At least it wasn't by 1 this time.
You can
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the kind of the fight and almost glimpse this woman's story as you kind of coerce the will out of her. You see somebody who was fairly well off during the pre-revolutionary days who has sort of squandered herself to this level in order to blend in, to survive, to exist under the radar of those who are so eager and willing to maim and kill and murder and decapitate everybody in this society. And you see that particular flavor of passion of survivalism leave momentarily in her eyes as your words wash over her and she loses herself for a moment, turns to where Mael has just landed pretty much on top of Honryo and goes in, eyes fixated now on him, but with none of that life, of that passion, that unlife, but still that life, these claws still out, blood dripping from them as she sort of rushes at him faster than what is humanly possible.
I imagine that I dipped you to do that.
I
Would
love
you-
this. Can I have
yeah?
it upside down?
Yes,
Like-
upside down if you do that.
No,
As-
no.
As that happens, I think she knows what you just did. You did
Mhm.
save her. She's going to she keeps you down. She leans forward and she's going to kiss you directly in the middle of the Adam's apple and then lift you back up. Be like, magnifique.
I think a rather good slaying of Caesar is overdue.
Then Mael is really on Honrio right now.
What does Mael
Oh
do?
yeah,
Yeah.
Mayel has a perfectly more sadistic plan. I think she's kind of letting her anger issues come out at this moment. She's gonna slice the palm of her hand, use her as a fighte to push her hand on top of Onryo's mouth.
Love.
Some
We were
Phantom of the
thinking the
Opera shit.
same. I was gonna bite his tongue out, so this is lovely.
Make a rouse check for corrosive vitae.
Yeah. Yes, I will.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Golden dice.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get you to roll strength and brawl
Success.
as he tries to squirm out of your way. But he'll do so at a
Mhm.
massive penalty because of the position he finds himself in currently.
Strength and brawl?
Yeah.
All right.
Still a pretty good roll.
6 successes.
Ooh, better than me. You're rolling amazingly.
I'm just doing what I do best.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't want to see me roll social rolls.
Mael, just as you sort of put the palm of your hand over Honrio's mouth and the sizzle of burning flesh, the smell of it starts to sort of filter out of this spot into the sort of hall, slowly kind of covering the entire airspace with this smell of burning flesh. This woman, you've never seen before, wearing this sort of lower class factory garb, not too dissimilar to your own, but even more sort of rugged than your own dress, comes by you, sort of kneels down, almost sliding in her haste. She's moving so quickly and starts with these feral weapons that she has, these like really, really long, ridiculously long claws to just slash as though she is frenzied at Honrio's body. Him being unable to move, blood spurting out everywhere. The kindred in this room, some of them start to lift up their heads, eyes wide, fangs bared, and start to descend upon whatever it is that is causing this intoxicating aroma to spill out into the room.
That is
I think-
the perfect moment then, because Mael needs to do her work. I would like to, where possible, use blink or traversal, whatever needs to be done, to get to exactly where Honryo was, and then I will use bring it on. All eyes on me.
Great. I will just have to relearn how exactly that works.
So
Yeah,
that
just
is
for the visual, I'll say that when the woman comes and descends on Honryo, I think Mael will just be like, yeah, sure, let her get her vengeance. And just like, instead of, she was probably like straddling her or him or something with the hand, so she'll just move so that she's not covering his body and just like sit at the side of his head, still mouth covered, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what would Remy like to do now?
So I'm just hanging where I was deposited, I suppose.
have fun at school and then left.
Yeah. I suppose. Are there any other aggressive K-Knights about nearby?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Any of them looking my way?
They would, especially after you sort of made such a kind of a gracefully aggressive entrance, and some of them have probably noticed what you've just done as well, in terms of that smell, that delicious smell that has just caught the crazed eye, the crazed nose, the crazed hunger, the crazed beast of many of the other Canaanites in this room. So there would be a few that are looking your way, fangs out, eager death on their minds, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to turn to any of them who are looking at me, and I'm just going to say, rip out a mortal's throat. And compel to do that.
Charisma dominate, please.
Yeah.
I don't need much convincing, but hey.
Mhm.
I don't like that I didn't hear this.
Mhm.
That is 5 successes.
5 successes. I got 4. A lot of being beaten by 1 for me today.
Yeah.
Again, this sort of I guess the hardships of the peasantry came to Paris for a better life to earn more money, joined one of the artisans' guilds, has constantly been beaten down first by the monarchy, then by the constitutional monarchists, and now by the Jacobins, and freshly embraced, now given a chance to truly be free, to truly take autonomy into their own hands. And yet it is drawn from them as you speak these words. As they turn to the closest mortal that are rushing around you at all times, it is one of Francine's people that he grabs the throat of, rips out the closest one, and you see the sort of last speckle as he does this of humanity, of that sort of lingering human side leave as the beast fully takes over and the frenzy begins here too, as the smell of blood permeates now sort of throughout this entire giant hall. All 4 wings, all of it covered with the smell of blood, both canine blood, all of it sort of happening all at once, frenzying everywhere, blood being spilled, splattered, flown throughout the air.
Remy is now mentally back in that church from our first episode and is seeing history rhyme again, and is basically like now staging that event again. That's where his head's at.
Yeah. Like a conference of revolutionaries, but in its purest form, in a strange way. Lucretia, you make your way up onto the balcony in the blink of an eye. What would you like?
Can I attack and do this discipline?
Well, all
Because my
eyes.
thought is I would try to draw my fans, do a lovely pirouette spin, and try to behead these men up here as I activate
Ooh,
Bring It On.
interesting. So you want to get the attention of the sort of security people here.
I just want to kill them if I can. Like, kind of the gesture of doing that
Yeah.
and then activating it. Because essentially, just for the crowd at home, Bring It On is described as you use your powers of presence to magnify the threat you pose to your enemies, taunting them to take a shot at you before you crush them beneath your boots.
You don't need to make a rouse check. They fixate their eyes on you, but not in the way that something like awe kind of inspires. They crouch down, eager, suddenly, more so. You can sort of almost feel the heat of their blood turn choleric and sort of hot and dry in their bodies as they change into this more sort of pointed aggression that is headed towards you. Because this is your action, you have spurred this on, you are aware of this, you have the opportunity to act first. They will try and defend themselves, obviously, if you give them the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. Will I be able to use Lightning Strike on only one of them or all of them? In this gesture.
Well, because it is one
rouse multiple
melee attack, you'll only have to rouse once for it, but the difficulty will be a lot higher to be able to pull this off.
Got it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I will do that and activate Lightning Strike.
Lightning strike, and I want you to roll dexterity melee for me if you're using your fan for this.
I certainly am.
They can't roll
Dexterity.
shit to dodge you.
Yep, it's just a difficulty of 1.
Mael, I should mention that the effects of this corrosive vitae, as this woman is slashing at his body, you on his face, this corrosive, it's like somebody has put something like hydrochloric acid on his face and it started to eat away at the skin. There are holes, it is decaying, his lips are gone, and it's sort of like opening up this cavity. His mouth is completely fully exposed, his cheeks are sort of eaten away at, and it's a horror to see. It's like he's been, dunked, his face has been dunked in an acid bath or something like this, and it's slowly eating away at his face.
Technically, people can make resolve and composure with the difficulty of 3 to try and resist Bring It On.
Yeah, I know.
Easy.
I rolled that for them. It didn't work.
Got it.
Bless.
I roused and used willpower, and I got a total of 8.
You get 4 of them out of the 5. One of them, you still hit, you still deal him damage, but it doesn't quite get him. And as he sort of takes a moment to notice that those people lying at his feet, his comrades, see what you've just done in one movement, which he didn't even see until after you had, resumed your original spot, the color in his blood flares up even more, and he points the gun at you, point blank range, and goes to shoot.
Ooh. Is this person a canine?
Hard to say, really.
When I nicked them, did they take damage like a human?
No.
Okay. Okay.
They didn't take damage like a human.
So I can dodge, right? Or do I?
You can dodge.
What do I do? What do I do? I've never been shot at before. What are my
Completely
options?
up to you. You have celerity, so you can get out of the way if you want to. You can.
Or I can engage, can't I?
You can also engage. Yeah, you can try and rush past the gun to get towards him. Or something. Yeah.
I think it'll be like a closing the fan, trying to push it aside, and then just blade straight up into the neck.
Roll for that.
So that's
Dexterity performance, I guess, because you're quite.
It can be melee if you want.
If you're trying to hit him with.
I am trying to.
Yeah, then it'll be melee.
Because if I can kill all 5 of them.
While that is happening, Mael, what would you like to do?
I think that I can hear, and if I look up, see the amounts of people rushing this way to probably have at Unrio's body. I think with that, I will lean down next to Unrio's ear and whisper to him, "Vive la révolution." And I will take away my hand and try to step aside to let all of the people have at his body.
Ooh.
Love.
Absolutely. You step by and they do. Both his allies and his foes, both your friends and his friends, equal in this moment, descend upon him as their beasts are in control momentarily, at least for this moment, feasting on his blood in this moment of revolution, as you say. Remy, what would you like to do here?
Look around. I think lost in the sort of dance of this grim repetition of that cathedral scene, he's looking around for another. I think in his mind, the the sort of soldiers and the Cainites that are on Hanrio's side are like the priests from that encounter. And so he's going to look to find either maybe the closest soldier wielding a gun or the closest Cainite who he can get to look at him. One of those two, whichever is around.
The blue jackets of the National Guard aren't designed to blend in to anything. They stick out, sort of stationed around, well, not stationed, in the fray at this point, stabbing people with the blade on the end of their bayonets and such. Are all of these soldiers, men and women, Cainites, with their fangs bared, biting and stabbing, you know, behaving like soldiers, but also giving into their beasts in a similar way to the rest of them. There are many stationed around you. You can sort of spot one that is close by, a sort of a woman who was probably at the beginning of the night quite starchily dressed with her hair tied back very tightly, but now everything is sort of come askew as her fangs are bared. The bayonet itself is dripping with the blood of many people, Cainites and Kine alike.
I'm gonna get that person's eye and point to the line of soldiers that's doing all the stabbing and say, "Charge those traitors."
Lovely. Charisma dominate if you are.
That's the one.
It's great because it doesn't require a rouse check.
It's the best.
Ooh.
Oh, hunger's made this one tricky. Sure, I counted that right. That is 6 successes.
Oh, I also got 6. Ties go to you. I would have rolled a messy critical for her too.
I had a bestial failure if it was a fail. On the mine.
Similar, and she similarly eyes go blank and makes her way quickly up to these soldiers charging the bayonet. You can sort of hear more than see as she makes her way over, the sound of it penetrating the flesh and stabbing, and you know the entrails of people spilling out onto the once rather nice floor of this convent, this monastery.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
I got 5 successes on my dexterity melee.
Great. What was it that you were doing again?
I basically use my closed fan to push the barrel of the gun aside and then jam the open bladed fan into the neck.
That's right. 5 successes, did you say?
5, correct.
Great. I got 6, so I beat you 1 time.
Spaghetto.
So
Guess I die.
Well, not quite. It's quite a bit of damage. Because bayonets are that kind of gun. It's plus 4.
Don't tell me I'll have to come and save Lucretia.
It's only going to do you 3 superficial damage, so it's not too bad. But it's still quite a little bit, as it's sort of you manage to knock it aside somewhat, but it still nicks you in the side, and you kind of are blown back by the force of this rifle, and you don't quite manage to slice at the guard with your fan.
Lucretia's about to lose her cool. Yeah, she does not do well with being touched by people she does not consent to. So she I think in response we'll just try to attack again. Like, you dare touch this, me? And we'll go for him.
Strength melee.
Dexterity melee?
Sorry, dexterity melee. I'm so sorry. That's what I meant. Mael, I'm gonna get you to make a wits awareness roll for me. As you step away from the those who are devouring the form of Francois Henriot. Meanwhile, Remy, what would you like to do? As you sort of sow the seeds of chaos in this way, watch all of these people. The one you told to rip out the throat of the mortal has gone on to do so with 5, 6 others, as they have sort of relished in the smell, the taste, the experience of this, bestial thing. You've created the chaos with Honryo himself, and now sowing the seeds of discord, distrust, chaos as well in the ranks of the National Guard. Everything is falling apart spectacularly, like a great tragedy, or perhaps it is comic to your eyes. I'm not entirely sure. But
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
Is Onryo dead?
No, not yet.
Oh. That's
Diablerie
interesting.
takes a while, even if it is a group
Yeah.
Diablerie.
Don't know why you felt the need to observe that. Just why on earth would that be a problem?
Yeah.
How long's a while?
Usually with this amount of Canaanites going at it, it'll probably take another few minutes, I would say.
Okay. Remy's gonna do it.
You want to go take a little sippy sip?
Oh yes.
Nice.
It's thirsting time.
It's thirsting time. You go over, join the throngs of those who are engaging in the act with you. Now I'm going to get back to that because group Diablerie, there's no real set rules for it, so we're going to have to work around it, but it'll be fun. Mael, remind me what you're doing. My bad.
Yeah, so I rolled the wits awareness for you
Yes.
first before I do anything, and that's 3 successes.
Okay. With 3 successes, you are able to notice that some of the factory workers, the ones that are still aware of themselves, have begun to retreat out of this place, run away, get out of here, especially because this is the place where most of the chaos is happening, out the doors away from here. It's a lot emptier than what it was before, and you notice that a vast majority of the people left in here now are Francine's people, rather than Honryo's people.
All right. Even though I noticed that, I think I'll look at it as the most feverish and like people who truly believed in what Honryo said, they would have stayed to fight. At some point, the people who have been running away thought that this was not worth losing their lives for, which is a good thing to realize. So I think I'll let them, let the people I see run. Because this will also probably be a fright to prevent them from doing anything more in the nearby future, which is enough for the moment. Looking at that and then hearing Lucretia say, "Don't touch me."
Very panicked and it's very emotional.
I think Mael will look up at the balcony from where the Lucretia's voice is coming, and then try to jump and climb her way up there.
Great. As you're doing that, Lucretia, how many successes?
5 again.
Wow. Okay. This time with 5 successes, he rolls only 1. So
Yay!
you manage to get him sort of, where do you go for? Across the throat?
Yeah, she is. It is neck and nothing but neck. As she gets there's always elegance to what she does, but as she gets shot and she sees that even just the smallest rip in fabric and she feels pain, it's this wild haymaker. Really, going for the neck.
Yeah, you sort of catch him point blank as he sort of stumbles. He's not used to or prepared for just how fast you are. And you slice him across the throat and he falls down to his knees, still alive, barely, kind of clutching at the blood sort of spilling from the wound that you've caused in his throat, kind of doubling over.
That speed, as if he falls to his knees, she lifts her leg up gets like a lot of the dress in the way, and then she's going to try and slam her heel down right onto the back of his neck.
Mm.
And will just be like, kneel!
I'll get you to roll strength brawl for me, I guess.
Cool.
Not very hard. He's not going to try and dodge because he is bleeding out. Mael, you make
Cool.
your way up the top to where Lucretia is too.
It is one success from my one
think
dice.
For the visual, as I make my way up there while Lucretia is lifting her heel, I think for the moment that is happening, Maya will be just perched on the the side of the balcony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It's a very gymnastic leg lift, like all the way up
Mm-hmm.
and then down.
Yeah. How many successes did
Fine.
you say?
I only got one, but I can get more.
That's fine. It's gonna be enough. Like, you know, he's not
Yeah.
moving. He's on the verge of death, and you bring it down. You hear a sickening crack, a crunch underneath your sort of elegantly healed foot, I would say. As many things break, and the head sort of almost like peels away from the shoulders in a it's very messy. It's very
Try twists her heel
Yeah.
a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes a bit of like grit to get it to separate. As heads are quite sternly fastened to their bodies usually, but it comes off.
Not usually while I'm around.
Mm-hmm. Now, Remy, let's have a think about this. Let's have a look about how this is going to work.
I feel like
Sure
I've
thing.
read it somewhere.
I have as well, but it's been so long since I've done it. So let's see.
I think it's like maybe there's a person who takes lead and makes the roll, but yeah, I can't remember as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Okay, you immediately lose a humanity. And
I also see that it gives no benefit. I'm reading that as well. If it's done by a group, you don't gain anything
you don't
from
get
it.
the thing, but it's a fun group, you know, activity.
Bonding.
Fun activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming that the group is going for the Diablerie, I
That's
guess.
right. Oh well, they're not stopping. It's the further you go, the harder it is, because that soul that tastes even more delicious than the bit that comes before it. It's
That's good
the
stuff.
much awaited dessert. Yeah. Okay, so I want you to roll a contest of your current blood potency plus your remaining humanity, and he will roll what he will roll.
So remaining humanity after taking off the one?
Correct.
Okay. And I take it there's no there's no rousing or
No
willpower
rousing
on
for
this.
this. It is just raw rolling.
Okie doke. That is 3 successes for Remy.
You are lucky because he got 2, so you don't have to keep losing humanity and rolling again.
Oh my.
I rolled badly, which is lucky for you.
It is.
Everybody is sort of silent, and it's a tranquil thing as the soul of Honryo sort of goes in all of these different directions, and you hear whispers of his past, whispers of his present, whispers of his personality, of who he once was, who he's changed into over time. A sort of a young boy not treated well by his parents, by his friends, by his family, always beaten down for one reason or another, not the eldest child, never the favorite, never the one that would get everything one day, always the extra one, shorter, less athletic, all of this kind of thing. And then all of that changing in his new position, in his ascension, in the life, the unlife that he was given through Cain, the purpose that he was given through Robespierre's revolution, through everything that he had come to represent, through Robespierre himself, through the significance that he was making, thrusting an entire world into a new age, leaving all of those people who had ever doubted him behind him in the dust. The thought of that, spurring him forever onward. That driving motivation that almost seems to egg you on as the last of the soul goes each of its separate ways. And this husk of a Cainite turns to fine sort of dust, too fine to feel, too fine to even sense before you. Nothing left of him at all.
Remy's just gonna lean back a bit.
You feel indescribably good.
Depending on where you look, I think Lucretia will come to the edge of the balcony where Mael is, and is like standing and looking down.
You would
If
just
that-
see him sort of like looking back and sort of just like looking up at the ceiling, and then his eyes might fall on you for a second. Then he's gonna look forward at the other kindred, the other Cainites who were doing this with him, and remember their faces.
Mm-hmm.
But just gonna be looking at them like, yeah, we just shared that.
Yep.
Remember this.
Some of them look at you, around at the others. Others look down. Some of them look up like you were. All of them, however, dazed and still and silent, and regardless of whether they were your friend or your foe before this, now that doesn't matter.
Just gonna say, never again be ashamed of what you are.
One of the Anarchs was looking like they were perhaps battling something within themselves. Turns towards you, doesn't say anything, just gives you a look of significance, of pure, unadulterated honesty, which is the only thing that any of these children of Cain are capable of in such a moment. Pure, unadulterated honesty. And there is silence. Easy, blissful silence. As between you, as the chaos sort of creates a whirlwind of muffled sound behind you. More of these people leave. The fighting continues, much to the detriment of those of Honrio's brood who have chosen to remain. Because of the overwhelming number of the Anarchs, they make short work of them, and it is clean, brutal, and extraordinarily bloody, the way that this place is left.
I think Mael will definitely continue to help and fight after that strange moment. I think then she'll jump down and go and help dispatch of those of Hanryu that decided to still fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No roll required with so many of you. Easy enough to do. Some are killed, some are captured, brought in by Francine and put off to one side.
Working together.
Yes, exactly. Now you notice that some of the factory workers themselves have been moving some of the boxes of weaponry and stuff to one side to make sure they weren't damaged in the battle as well. Something you can assume to be the work of Monsieur de Galbert, who has moles and people he knows in situations like this. And eventually, it dies down. A feeling of grim satisfaction and achievement from those who remain. There is no cheering, no jovial, overt celebrations. There is a pragmatic satisfaction, as I said, what they have done, and a shared knowledge of the need for it to have been done. Eventually, I'll say, you all come together again, the three of you.
A certain level of opposition to that pragmatism. Like I imagine at some point Lucretia may have separated slightly from the others to fight and deal with a few runners who were getting away. She would have easily caught them. I think at one point she probably would have swung an anarch into a dip, or not an anarch, one of the kind anarchs, and fed from them probably.
Mm-hmm.
But she's energetic and she's like, ah, yes, we have done it, fantastic, ah, excellent fighting, and everyone's like, I'm horrified. She's like, oh, magnifique, magnifique. But then, yeah, she'll reconvene with everybody and try and tone it down a bit as she comes back to the rest of the group. A fantastic show, Remini.
Truly. What I have seen before, and yet unlike anything I could have expected.
Mademoiselle Maëlle.
This wasn't a show, Lucretia.
You did fantastic.
This wasn't a show.
Okay. It was impressive nonetheless. Your combat ability is always a wonder to see. Smart to take down Onryo so quick and in such a fascinating.
Wasn't that the plan that we all had?
Yes, but your execution of it was ingenious.
I will look around. Do I see Francine?
Yes, if you wander around a little, she is sort of over the other side, away from the officers, speaking to some of the other kindred that are being part of this movement, and helping some of de Galbert's men, actually, and women, moving the boxes of weapons and storing them all in one place, and sort of helping to sort them out, essentially, making sure that she knows what's there, essentially, and checking over the equipment as well.
I will approach her and
Well, are you okay?
Francine, I am none the worse than I was before we did this.
That's good to hear. More I can say. More that we can say for a lot of these, for a lot of our brothers and sisters. I'm glad to hear that you're right. Your friends?
They're they are fine.
Good.
This was what was needed. So, and we should be happy that it didn't go worse.
You're right. We still achieved what we set out to achieve. That's the main thing. We were always going to lose people. We lost less than they did, so all in all, it's as good as we could have hoped for, I think. May I ask what your companion, Madame de Visage, plans to do about that little stunt she pulled in her Elysium the other night?
I was going to ask what stunt, but then I'm assuming that you're talking about the stunt she did with her husband.
The praxis she declared on his behalf, yes. I'm doing this, all of these things, fronting this movement because I believe in our vision for this city. I believe in our vision of freedom, our vision to open up kindred societies so people can follow whatever beliefs they want without being beaten down like we were before the revolution when the Camarilla was in charge. By Jack.
And we lost Madame de Visage.
Fair enough. Rage quit.
Sick.
And they're back.
Don't know what's going on. Please continue.
What is her aim? What's her goal? Why is she helping us if she wants to put the Camarilla back where they were before?
Well, for once, I don't know what she's thinking or whom she's basing her thoughts off. But as close as we may seem right now, I don't think she has ill intentions, but if she does end up having them, I can get into the Palais unnoticed, I think, and deal with that if needed.
I don't doubt.
I don't think she has the intentions, but I won't let her be the only one that endangers the future of Paris. Not something I'm eager to do, but I won't let her be the last obstacle that would still stand.
Thanks. Thank you. Mael,
You don't need to thank me for this. We both know why I and why you are doing this, why all of these people are doing this. So save the gratitude for after the big day.
Yeah. You're right. It's not over yet. And we are about to create a power vacuum. A lot of people are very ready for it, including Madame de Visage, but also including us.
Indeed. And with the newfound ally back at our side, and I motion to like some of the Goldbear's people, can only go better from this point. I'm assuming you have this situation handled?
I do. I've been in contact with some of his people, and de Galbert and I will have a discussion later on this evening. Sooner rather than later, especially because Robespierre is making his address tomorrow evening.
Good. Good. I don't think anything will go amiss, but just know that if anything does, it can all be taken care of.
We'll be on your side, both of us, this time. And all of the people, resources, assets that we can muster together, which, granted, isn't as much as we had 5 years ago, but with our combined efforts, I trust it'll go better. And we have at least the momentary alliance of the Camarilla and even some of the Sabbat. We're in a uniquely good position, and I plan to make the most of it. We plan to make the most of it, I should say.
Here's the thing, don't forget that the Sabbat also doesn't have as much as they did 5 years ago.
You're right. We're all in the same boat, which It's probably good for us.
I'm certain that at this moment, Remy would make a vague statement about a chessboard and the places or the playing fields being leveled, but I'm not him, so I will not give you such advice and just say that we will beat their asses.
We'll win. It's been ours from the beginning. It'll be ours at the end. Things come full circle, and this will too.
I'll give her a little pat on the back, and with a take care, I will turn back.
She busies herself once again very quickly with helping out, organizing things, speaking to Galbear's people, her people around the place.
While Mael is speaking to Francine, Lucretia does a job of like picking at where the bullets hit her dress, but she sidles up near Remy, and there is this hand that moves from here to his chin and like turns his face to look at hers. You must tell me how it felt.
I can do much better than tell you.
She gets closer. I was hoping you would.
You know, I'm always willing to share.
Keep a lady waiting.
You must understand. Makes the experience sweeter. The longer pendulum keeps longer time. And then I would like to use...
Mm-hmm.
I can wait until we're sleeping and then show it
True.
via day sleep, or I can eat
Yeah.
together.
I think she...
If we're able to have a snack.
You can easily have a snack.
Yeah.
I think she's still gonna hold you there, still very close. She's like, I want you to use your words. I want to hear how hard it is to explain. How heightened it was.
Imagine, if you will, that you are both the anchor and the dove. Unleashed from your mooring as the anchor, you drop beneath the dark water. Feel the earth rushing towards you to claim you, held at bay only by the thick black maw. And yet, even as your body sinks, your eye soars, blinded by the lightness of a day you have forgotten. Strange marriage of opposites dancing across your tongue like a sublime ballet.
I think as you speak more, like her hand goes just from your chin to both hands are on your face as you're talking. And as soon as you're done, she kind of like takes this breath and steps back and goes like, thank you very much, mon cher. I look forward to experiencing it more in full.
I should like to hear your description.
And wait for my elf.
At this moment, you notice Mael sneaking off outside of the building. Because I think, I think Mael would like to feed a bit, but she will look for one of the humans who fell down, who isn't quite dead yet. And she would not hold off on killing them or something.
Mm-hmm. Very easy to find that people splayed out everywhere. Too many people to have moved this quickly. So I think without rolling, based on the fact there are many people who are either unconscious or laying down grievously injured, it's easy for you to find somebody, and if you're not holding back on killing, satan your hunger all the way down to 0. As you feast on the sort of remains of this chaotic battle that took place here, gorging yourself on the after effects of it all. Lots of choleric energy, lots of violent emotion in all of these people as they lay here dying, waiting for you to come for them. It is at this point where we will take a short break for a few minutes and return with the aftermath of this battle and the continuation of our story. Thank you, everybody, so much for sticking around so far, and we will be back soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and let's just get right back into the action. Now, we begin again as we left off, amongst the wreckage, the aftermath of this battle that has happened, the diablerie, the murder, the retribution from all of you. Mael, you have fed as much as you have desired. Lucretia, you're fed from sort of morsels as they are leaving, maybe perhaps more sort of your style in this particular case. And Remy, you too have fed in your own way this evening. You're all feeling very sated in different contexts at this particular point. As I mentioned, you all make your way sort of back together with one another. What do you do? Do you have any conversations? Where do you go from here?
Definitely just away at first. Like, not being seen is probably a good thing. Um, any kind of like sporadic kind that might be on the streets or anything like that, I think the creature will probably get Daunt going just to keep attention away. But as they're walking, she will probably just speak to her two companions, former packmates. Um, we have the weapons factory now. That is a single step closer to the power needed to take down Robespierre. We now need to secure more eyes, more power. We may have lost, at least until I can find a way to secure his connections, any kind of allyship with Jean Baptiste. But I can certainly secure the help of Madame Julienne. If you would like to join me.
Do you think my assistance would be useful?
You and Madame Julienne have a similarity that she may find comforting.
We did have a rather interesting conversation.
Mm,
She wishes to mourn. Yes,
indeed.
I think I should like to see that.
I thought so.
Mael will kind of turn around so that she's walking backwards and get it straight in front of Rebby's face. And just like take his chin, like look both ways and be like, "You good?"
Sublime.
You seem high.
Ironically, not in my usual fashion. Flirting with the edges. Hello there.
All right. And she lets go of the hand and goes back to the other side. um yeah, whichever ally we can still get. It's good.
I am going to loop my arm with Remy, just in case he wants to truly zone out into the stratosphere. She
It
can
will
just,
help. Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Um,
looking like not like as though he's forgetting he's walking between each step. Like he's just sort
yeah.
of like
I think she
it's
can
like it
pick up on
surprises
it
him. Yeah, yeah.
so that he doesn't have to focus.
Mm.
And I think when Mael moves around, there's a gesture. She won't force it, but she will hold her hand out if Mael would like to hold hands.
She will not take it. Like,
There's like a
she'll look at it.
gesture as you move around, and then
Yeah, she'll look at it, question, and then like give a glance at you questioningly, like,
an inviting smile.
she'll go back to walk next to you.
Yep. She'll just have her hand beside her. How are you feeling, Mael?
I was going to ask the same to you. Since I heard you on top of the balcony.
I do not like getting hit, being touched, having my things ruined. It was an outburst. Thank you for coming to my assistance.
You don't like having your things ruined, and yet you ruin the things of so many others.
What
But
do you mean?
ironic.
Which bits?
Lives, social
Whose?
standing, bodies.
Can you be more specific so I may speak to those points?
Don't be ignorant. You ruin things just as I do, just as Remy does, but it's just
Oh,
ironic that
I am aware. I just want to know of which you are speaking to. Or just in general.
I think we all witnessed the biggest example of it, no? Years ago. I think we all witnessed how you decided to ruin your husband's things.
You
I'm sorry, but Remy's face.
do you know what he had done to me?
Be a bad sire? You never actually said. Not that, well,
I'm not
not that
sure
we
if
needed to
my
explain things in those years to each other to get help, but
I certainly tried. It may have been my hysterical crying that was too emotional. And perhaps the words did not slip through my desperate pleas for help. I did not often show them to others. My life, or unlife, did not quite start until he was gone, or at least that version of him was gone. I refused to be under the boot of that man any longer. But I could not simply have him removed. If I did, I would have been cast out onto the street. So I turned it into a strength. I made it work because I could not be in that scenario any longer. I did something to save myself when no one else would.
yeah. Well, I guess the only difference is then that our ways of handling things are different then.
Yes.
I never got the whole, well, not being direct thing.
You think the way I handled things was not direct.
No. I mean, in my eyes, handling things directly would just be taking him out of the picture. As out of the picture. Not in it, but in a different way.
He is out of the picture. The Dominique you see is not the Dominique he was. He was removed, and I replaced him.
Yes, but he is still in the picture.
Physically, perhaps. His name, which allows me strength, a home, money, life,
So you keep him in the
experience.
picture for that.
I am a woman. And if I was not married to him, I would have nowhere to be. I would likely be dead. In fact, I am already dead. The Lucretia that you know, the Dominique that you know now, both of them died. Lucretia died long before Dominique was ever robbed of his personality. She died in a small room at the hands of the now passed Dominique. She was promised a life of free speech, of education, and experience joy. But instead, she was killed, drained of all the blood from her body. And the thing, the corpse, the thing still in the picture, still came out, a pretty face. And that pretty face had to serve Dominique. He had no actual goal in mind for me at all. None. He just wanted me around to do drugs, have sex. There was no education. No one listened to me. And so the spirit of that dead girl inhabited this body. And I live every day fighting to avenge the woman that died in that room. And I refuse to be as weak as she was. Naive, idiotic. And I refuse.
With
Dominique
beliefs
is
and
gone.
ideals.
That is all that exists. I tried to find the beliefs and ideals that would have saved that girl in that room. And if they do not have enough, if they would not have the belief strong enough to fight for a single girl in that room, then they deserve the same fate as her. Dominique did not meet that belief. And I wonder, would you have saved her? I know for sure that Remy would have. And it is why I'm so close to him, and he did. Would you?
Have saved dead Lucretia. Would I have saved dead Lucretia? Is that your question right now?
Could you have? Would you have?
That depends. Seem to be thinking that you seem to be of the mind that you're better off as you are currently. Right?
I'm stronger than that girl was.
But do you believe to be better off than that girl?
You will answer my question first.
I'm getting to it. Do you believe that you're better off?
Define better off.
You
Financially,
can take
yes.
whichever definition you want.
Yes, I am. Because I forged this from her corpse.
Then no, I wouldn't save her.
Mhm. I know. It's why you never knew this story. Because you never asked and you never cared.
Perhaps I don't care much for girls who died then. At the hand of a man.
Are you not the same? Did a man not save you? Thought he knew better about your life took it into his hands, shaped it into what he thought was best. Every man I have met is
There's a
so
difference
similar.
between us, Lucretia.
Yes.
A man killed you. But a man didn't kill me, a man tried to kill me.
You are dead.
So yes, in some way we are the same. But not in all.
No. I don't want to be the same as you. That is the point. I was weak enough to be killed. And you apparently did not.
No man killed me.
A woman?
It's because you are a man, Remy.
Oh. No. No, I thought I was alone in the dark. I was not. I said, "Who goes there?" And the voice said, "Nobody." Nobody killed me.
Nobody killed you.
Hmm.
She's gonna lean down and just give a very tender kiss on his cheek. And then keep walking.
But you see, Mael has not been killed by a man. That was someone else. We don't have to speak of her anymore. She is the new prince. The one who has not fallen. We let those hidden knowledges lie, don't we?
With that, I think you arrive at the gates of the Palais Royal once again. Lucretia, you're home, where the three of you were just last night. A new night, so much seems to have changed since then. But here you are. Lucretia, you know that Julienne makes her quarters within here on the ground floor with some of her children, but likes to, when she can, spend the night alone. She has the rare opportunity to do so.
She will set Remy down in a soft chair.
I think Mael will play the bodyguard.
Yeah.
So if you set Remy down, she'll come and stand next to him and say like, you can go deal with business.
She Hold on, I need to think for a moment.
We have a few more moments of Remy gazing around at the shiny things, being like,
You know, the second viewing of a painting is never the same as the first.
this is not a painting, Remy.
Isn't it?
No.
She'll put her hand on Miles' shoulder and then just squeeze it reassuringly, and then she will turn and walk to Julienne's room. And I think just in the quickest way, be like, it is an evening to grieve, I think, Julienne.
Lucretia, Back so soon. I knew you couldn't stay away.
Of course, madame, you are a sight to see, and one I wish to ogle all evening.
As I wish to do so with you. It's not often that we get the pleasure of meeting so frequently. I suppose the
No.
speed of the nights. These nights call for such things.
If I can alleviate your heart, even slightly, it would be all the worth. Our herald standing tall.
I would much appreciate it.
She'll hold her hands out. Bring her along. I have brought my friends. They can be a voice in the dark at times.
Wonderful, Remy. I still must take you up on that offer you so generously provided yesterday. I've been thinking about it frequently.
As have I.
Bottled dreams. An interesting concept, nonetheless. And Mademoiselle Cadieu, a pleasure to see you. She is a lot less animated than she was last night. Has embraced the need to mourn this evening and is solemn and doesn't speak much. Her mind seems to be heavily occupied with a manner of things, essentially. Obviously, the mourning of Marat at the forefront of her mind, but many other things swirling around in there, Lucretia, you would know. She takes responsibility for a lot and is constantly on top of all of those things as well. So you see her tonight in a rare, I guess, moment of vulnerability.
I'll be very much by her side and very like rubbing her back and stuff. Not too much as to rubble her skin off, but we'll head to the. Where are we going?
You're going to the Paris Pantheon, which is
a
building modeled off the Roman Pantheon.
Yeah, of course.
And is used as a resting place for a number of esteemed citizens, I suppose, now of France. Many kings and lords and princes and people of, high military rank over the ages are entombed here. And ever since the revolution, they have started to bury very influential Enlightenment thinkers and philosophers here, and Jean-Paul Marat being the most recent addition to the sort of esteemed caliber of people that rest in this place. As you all transport her over to the Pantheon, you have to sort of traverse some of Paris, at least, sort of northwards to get there from the Palais Royal. I will get you all to make a composure stealth check. She will do the same. Julienne does not have the means to conceal her appearance at all.
That's it.
She will make the roll as well, but as mentioned, she is very much relying on you in this case, so she does not go out of the Palais much at all. Jesus, I'm going to spend a willpower for her because that's shocking.
Gonna arouse for this because I do not have the dices.
Your compulsion is over as well, Remy, so you don't have
That's
to
good to know.
worry
Good to
about
know.
that particular penalty.
Taking,
Lasted for the scene, and now it has worn off in favor of another type of sensation, shall we say.
Come down time, baby.
5.
5, nice.
Can I use Unseen Passage?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a 4 for Remy.
4, nice. A arouse for Unseen Passage. And make a general roll for the lay people of the city who are oblivious as ever. Lovely. you stick to back streets with Mael's knowledge of the streets and where they come out, and the tracking skills that have been so useful to you many years ago when you ran together, the three of you, as well as Lucretia's ability to distract from the
Blend in and
transport itself. Exactly. And Remy standing close by to her the entire time, being a sort of omnipresent human shield, but in a different way, I suppose. You make your way slowly but
black
surely.
hand, if you will.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but up north a little ways to the Paris Pantheon, this sort of white marble, as I said, modeled very closely off the Roman buildings, sort of standing very firm, tall, and proud. Above a sort of set of steps, a courtyard sort of laid out, all concreted and not plush, but sort of stoic and hard in front of it in that way. You can hear probably hear some noise from within, some murmur, some footsteps, things like that. But yes, it's a bit odd as it's sort of approaching perhaps 1, 2 in the morning at this stage. But there are still people around. Paris is a large city, people bustling about at all hours of the night.
I'll do like a quick heightened senses to make sure it's not like a quick, they're coming.
With heightened senses, I'll get you to make a wits awareness roll for me.
Could I do the same with unseen
Sense the
presence?
unseen.
Sense the unseen. That's all.
Sense the unseen's a bit different. You won't get to add your auspex, but if you're looking for things that are not
I'm looking for
visible,
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Yeah. I will
They're
actually,
everywhere.
I will get you to make a wits auspex roll, Remy, but this will be for something
Oh,
special.
how interesting.
4.
4. With 4 successes, Lucretia, you can hear people are reciting passages from Camille Desmoulins' old Cordelier's pamphlets that he wrote in protest of the Terror just before he was arrested and guillotined.
Got it.
Reading out passages to each other, sort of saying that we need to sort of rein back all of this violence somewhat and work and strive for liberty and the ideals of the revolution before it turned so violent and horrible.
Got it.
And with 4 successes, did you say? Was it 4
For-
I
successes?
got 5.
5. Oh,
I got 5 as well for the wits aspects, but
Great.
that's a different thing.
No worries. Awesome. Lucretia with 5 successes, sorry. You also hear that there's probably about maybe 7 or 8 voices in there that you can hear. People sort of talking to each other, conversing. It sounds very casual the way that they are talking to one another. With 5 successes on wits or specs, Remy, you see in the sort of corners of the courtyard as the streets sort of snake around to the sides, entering the back alleys and things, the sort of flickering of lights and shadows as if people are moving or somebody is moving sort of in the far off kind of back alleys around the courtyard itself. Never anything quite tangible, but shadows moving, lights flickering in and out of light and back again.
Is that specifically shadows moving?
Yes, correct.
Okay, good.
Capital S
Good.
for shadows moving. And
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
seeing as you picked up on this when you've activated Sense the Unseen specifically, an ability
Yeah.
that picks up things that aren't pertaining to the mundane. Yeah. You can make of that what you will.
I'm going to give Julienne like a pat on the hand and be like, "One moment, madame." And I'm going to make my way into the Pantheon ahead. And my intention is to essentially try and convince these people to leave so that we can have some privacy, and we'll employ Daunt if they don't just like. She'll start with a, "Could you please give us some privacy?"
Mm-hmm.
And if they're like, no, anti-revolution, she'll just be like, don't, please.
Okay.
They don't want to leave, then Mael can be at the other side, like suddenly scraping the walls, be like, "What is that?"
Ghost.
I'll give you an idea of the layout of this building as well before you go in. So,
Yep.
there is where these people are, is essentially a kind of a hall in the center, where there are some like older kind of graves and things like around the sides. But a lot of the newer ones, including Marat, are sort of buried underneath, in a kind of nice catacomb. So these people aren't actually where Marat is. They're sort of above. You have to sort of go further into the building and down into the sort of subterranean levels to get to where Marat is buried.
I think she's still gonna try and get them to leave, like as nice as possible, just to be like, citoyens. No, they're anti-revolutionary. She'll be like, she'll just ask them to leave.
They would still respond well to citoyen, because the Demolon
Just
stuff
overall.
The stuff they believe in is still very much the like republic, fuck the king, get him to
but
die.
not terror levels.
Yeah, but not chopping people's heads off stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be like a citoyens. I couldn't help but overhear your discussions, and I heard that there's a gathering over at the make up some lie about a different location that they can go to.
Okay, interesting. It's gonna be tricky.
Yes, that is fine.
Make a, I guess, charisma subterfuge. It'll be.
Yeah, not manipulation.
No, because you're trying to be nice.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, true. So charisma, what was it? Subterfuge.
Yes, that's right.
Does this include my innocence?
No, because you're saying that you know where another gathering is. Yeah. So which means that you're pretending to be in the know about these types of things.
Yep. Oh God, I'm gonna use power. Gee, Lord in heaven. Come on, dice. Jeez, I'm gonna rouse too because fucking hell. That is horrid. Oh my God. That's 2 successes. Fuck.
One lady steps.
That was on 8 dice.
Yeah.
I got 2 successes.
Dice Christ has something to say.
Apparently.
One lady steps forward, and she's dressed rather nicely as well. Looks to be a woman of some standing, at least financially, and says, "Well met, citoyen. We have... perhaps there are meetings around the city. Perhaps. We have been planning this one for quite some time, quite covertly, quite secretly. And in terms of the old Cordeliers, I'm afraid we're the only ones left that were a part of the club that have not been caught thus far. So if there is another meeting, either it's a trap or there is new blood, which of course is great, but...
Would the old Cordeliers Club not be the best place for the Cordeliers to meet?
Too dangerous. It's so closely monitored these nights. We need to find refuge in pillars of the old aristocracy, as revolting as it is. It still serves us better. It's more discreet. I know that Robespierre keeps quite a good eye on the Cordeliers Club. The Jacobins prowl it constantly, as you can imagine.
Yes, of course. Well, perhaps if you delayed your meeting, I would simply just like some privacy here for some time, as I'm sure you understand.
I see you wish to, perhaps say some words about Mirabeau. I understand. We can step out.
Not for long.
Of course, of course. We will step out and give you all the privacy you need. We're happy to do so. Understand the importance of this place. They have buried some heroes of the revolution here after all.
She does like a yes, yes, very much so.
Relics of when it was. Anyway, yes, of course. We
Thank
will
you
move off to one side.
so much. Thank you.
Hmm.
And then she'll go right back out and be like, grab Julianne's hand and just whisper to her, the entire Pantheon is for you tonight, my dear. Lead her downstairs.
Absolutely. The sort of 7 or 8 people kind of file out into the courtyard just outside the front. Sort of exiting the building, but still staying around it, if that
Yeah,
makes
I'll
sense.
do a little daunt just to be safe so that
Mhm.
they don't catch any glances of
Yeah.
Julianne.
Yeah, that's fine. They don't look your way at
Yeah,
all. They sort of go back to murmuring amongst themselves. They find a little alcove and all that sort of thing.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and you make your way down into what sort of is a kind of catacombs library almost. There are a lot of books and things lined, archives, things like this. Very old stuff, usually like pertaining to like the medieval kind of historical things, and archives on the particular like old nobility and royalty that are buried here and all that sort of thing. A lot of it very outdated at this point. But Marat's tomb is sort of in the kind of newer section, very close to Mirabeau's and all of the sort of Enlightenment thinkers. There is like this sort of revolutionary section that they've started to build up over time. Maëlle and Remy, do you come down here as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, Maëlle doesn't have any interest besides making sure that Remy doesn't stumble.
Great.
So yeah.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm. I think, Lucretia, as you lead Julienne to Marat's tomb, I'm going to get Remy and Maëlle to make another wits awareness for me. Just as is.
Lucretia is probably beginning the whispers between her and Julian of like, what was he like?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you missed him. Just getting the like those emotions to the forefront now that they're here so that she can begin.
Yeah. She'd just say things like, oh, he was always so angry, but always so passionate about pushing things forward in his own way, and
Yes.
extraordinarily misguided, but for amazing. And sort of goes on this that kind of picture she paints of Monsieur Marat as this
Lucretia
deeply
plays the balancing game of yes, he was completely right in what he did. Pause. But of course he shouldn't have done it. She keeps like catching herself with being like, what he did changed the face of France. And he did that without even leaving his room. Like, you made such an incredible child. And then she's like, the lives lost can never be brought back from what he did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Saying what you think to saying what you should say. Energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. With 4 successes, Maëlle and Remy, as you sort of enter down into this alcove and sort of stand off to one side and let Julienne and Lucretia have their space, I feel like, Maëlle, you would probably see the the smoke from a candle sort of over in the far corner of this like little underground section, sort of wafting up as though it has just been blown out. Remy, you probably smell this kind of perfumed candle wax reach you in this moment, this kind of scent of a rich kind of lavender, this candle, and then you look over and spot it as a candle that it's smoking as though it's just been blown out or something like that. And there's also an opened a book or paper of some kind that is on the desk, but nobody's sitting there.
Um, from this point, is there any way to leave or enter that area without the passageway that we are in?
There is only one way down here. The way that you've come down some stairs just behind the sort of entrance hall, down a small passageway, and down some stairs into this basement.
But there are other parts of this basement. So one could easily have gone from this room to another part.
It's pretty much one space, I would say.
Mm.
The graves are sort of over here on one side, then there are a lot of books in the center, couches. It's almost like a sort of living room of some kind. Almost, but sort of very opulently decorated. And then on the other far side, away from Julianne and Lucretia, there is this desk with this candle that has just been blown out, and the scent of it wafting close towards you.
All right. Since Mile is still in obfuscate, she will whisper to Remy and say, "Want to sniff at what he was reading?"
Yes. Yes, I think I should like that very much. And Remy will stroll over to the desk, take a big whiff of the candle going by, but then look down to see what the book is.
You would probably recognize Marat's handwriting, actually, given the fact that you're all of the same sect and probably crossed paths on more than one occasion through such things.
He is quite a famous writer.
Indeed, that's right. Well, you know, his published works would have been typed, but this is his hand. Something that he would have written but not have published yet, you would probably think. Lots of talk about needing to keep Robespierre in this position, as he is the only one among us in this incorruptible way that he is, that is able to bring us all into this kind of heightened state of being. A sort of modern representation of Cain through his own inability to be corrupted by humanity and by the pitfalls of the Cainites who follow degenerative paths that seek to deviate from the one true way and all this kind of thing. It is in the flavor of Marat's writing, a sort of ode to Robespierre, but this one is filled with a lot more Cainite-centric kind of meaning, iconography, discourse.
Going to turn to Julianne and say, "You may or may not care for the matter, but there is something about holding the same hand," and then kind of hold the papers out to her, just so that it's visible that it's his manuscript.
She goes to take them from you, if you would let her, of course. She says, yes, this was the other thing that I came for. Just a precaution. Do you understand? Perhaps you don't, but 'tis the way we do things in any case.
I think I would like to understand.
A masquerade.
Indeed. Secrecy.
Aha. Well.
Yes, a little tidbit of our structure, our way, so to speak, just to make sure that his reputation is not desecrated in ways that we don't want. And
it will not be destroyed, will it?
His reputation.
That
he is immortalized here. At the very least, he will always have one. Especially after all he did. And she goes over to the desk and picks up a bunch of other papers that are sort of stacked in the corner as well, leafs through them, takes some of them, leaves some of them there. As she's doing this, she eyes the candle as well, the sort of smoke that's now wafting up into the sky. It is at this point where I'll get you all to make wits awareness checks for me. Lucretia, add your heightened senses for me.
Yay!
I take it since the unseen is not useful in this
Not
case.
in this case.
And then you
I'm
look up
nice.
and you see a Tremere on the ceiling.
What was that
Oh,
about
I
cleaning
don't
of the insect?
That's when you see the C4 bomb. That's
What?
The
No!
classic, one of two classic horror movie scenes.
Mm.
Either there's someone on the ceiling or behind the door, or there's a bomb.
Just 3 for Remy.
Just 3.
It's actually a 4 with a messy
Buddies.
critical.
Had to
Great.
come to you eventually.
Haha.
Belief is being discussed, and she is at great turmoil when it comes to Marana.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
sense.
right. It is a point of contention for Lucretia.
She's like, yeah, don't destroy the book. You didn't say that you weren't going to destroy the book.
Maëlle and Remy, you don't catch this. It is a little bit too far away from you. But Lucretia, you hear it coming from up above you and outside the front. Screaming.
Oh.
Shrieking.
As in similar voices to the people I just asked to
That is
leave.
correct.
Yeah.
No.
And it lasts for a little bit. Far off, muffled by the fact that you're down here and they're up there, but your supernatural
don't-
ability to sense.
Hmm.
Julien
Please
gives
don't
you a
tell
look.
me that will wait.
Mhm.
As in
Remy-
a knowing look.
A knowing look,
Yeah.
a worried look.
I think normally she's one to kind of take action from that, but I think because we're here for Julien, there's a look of like, what do you want to do?
Footsteps you can hear come in.
Coming. Oh Lord.
And as they clip clop on the floor of the Pantheon entrance hall,
Yeah.
Maëlle, Remy, that's when you
Yeah.
hear as well. You notice that Lucretia and Julien are sharing a look, worried.
Right. Immediately when we hear someone coming closer, I'll move closer there to maybe first catch a glimpse of them. Still obfuscated, mind you.
Okay, cool. So you move closer to the door to see who it might be. What do the rest of you do? Julien sticks very close to you, Lucretia, in this moment.
Yeah. I think she's in a bit of a she's not in her right mind at the moment. She's definitely not like completely out of it, but there's a lot going on in her head. She's going to move back so that the two of them are like against Mara's resting place.
Ooh, almost like you're guarding it.
Yeah, in a way.
So Remy, I think, would like to walk to a place where he is behind. If everyone's looking to the door, he wants to get like up against the wall behind where they're looking and then activate Cloak of Shadows.
Nice. A free action. You don't have to rouse for it. So you disappear as people sort of turn their heads, don't look your way. And Maëlle, as you sort of peep around the corner, you're the first to see the figure of Saint-Just coming down the stairs. Like his very tight, stiff white cravat, red, bloodied. You can even see droplets of it sort of still wet on his black kind of coat that he is wearing as well. And he comes down the stairs towards the 4 of you underneath. Well,
Okay, last time, as far as I'm aware, last time he couldn't see me. So
No.
I would very much like for him to pass me and then be behind him.
yeah, certainly, absolutely. You can do that. He he comes down, and as he is coming down, passing you, looking like he's just had, at the very least, a nice meal, his face even covered. We will pause the scene here and lift off with it next session, I think.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm actually going to remember to use entrancement the minute I see him.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Want to quell his beast again?
Yeah, boom.
Oh boy. Well, thank you everybody so much for coming and joining us for this session. It was an absolute blast. Did a lot of funky things. I'm Beck. I've been your storyteller for this evening's session. And before we leave off, let's get our lovely group to introduce yourselves to us again. Let us know what you're up to, where we can find you, all of that.
I am Adam. I have been playing Remy, your extra thirsty Sabat Malkavian. You can find the Shakespeare-inspired D&D stream that I run called Bardic Inspiration at the handle listed below. Thanks.
Jack, I've been playing Madame la Comtesse de Visage, the Camarilla Toreador Revenant. And I'm at Dr. Radiance on social media.
And hi, I'm Syrinx. I've been playing Mayalka Dude, the alive and kicking anarch gangrel of the group. And you can find me at Syrinx on Twitter and Instagram.
Lovely. Well, thank you everybody again for coming and joining us, and can't wait to see you and have some fun next session as well. Thank you everybody so much, and take care. you.